things you believe. How do you take those beliefs to work? What beliefs do you have trouble taking to work? Why does the human flesh, human spirit need to be so self-directed? Why do we have to be so in control? Why does it have to be our way? The difference is, we know His plan is good, most of us, but we're wondering like, but I was kind of thinking it would go this way. And then so performance-driven. Business success looks like this, yes or no? Dependence. I started early, I don't know what I'm doing exactly. I just got started. I'm not. Every one of us started that way. But now I'm going to be interdependent. I'm going to get some help. I'm going to grow in this business a little bit. And then I'll become independent. I'll be able to run this thing myself. Who's thought that way? Everybody. Ministers of the gospel think that too. Everybody. And you're ministers of the gospel. We're going to make those synonymous, okay? Do we get that performance example from Jesus? This is Jesus. He's kind of debating with the Pharisees and religious leaders, and he says this: the one who speaks of his own authority seeks his own glory, but the one who seeks the glory of him who sent him is true, and in him there is no falsehood. Okay, Jesus has already said he can do nothing without the Father. I didn't start the Alabama Ole Miss things as early in the other sessions, but let's start it here. Who said, I'll tell you what's going to happen. We're going to get down, we're going to win every game but one, and then this is going to happen, and then that's going to happen, and this is going to happen, and I'll tell you, that's where it's going to go down. Whose authority am I speaking on when I say that? Let me tell you, I'm right about this. There's no submission whatsoever to that. Let me just tell you what Biden needs to do. Everybody knows. Let me tell you what John needs to do. Is it more interesting if the Grizzlies ever win a championship or what God's doing in his life? Which is more interesting, really? But on what authority? Jesus, who is perfectly God and a perfect man who never sinned, never sinning is this: I don't speak on my own authority. I'm trying to speak on my own authority all the time. Say if God says or God wills, or based on what I'm getting from God, here's what I want to do about this piece of work. And I'm seeking my own glory. Perfection, maturity in Christ is never saying things on my own authority and never seeking my own glory. Well, that'll kind of redefine a job description right there. All on its own. All on your work today. And so the financial advisor that does that with humility says, here's what I think is best, but only God knows. And I'm not saying they have to declare that every time. I'm not putting together a legal ethics dilemma for you, okay? I'm not doing that. I'm saying, where is our heart when we're doing this? Where's our humility when we're doing this? What does Jesus say? Go and do likewise. I never spoke on my own authority. I never sought my own glory. Now you go do the same. That's what he says. And this is after the Good Samaritan, but he says it the whole way. Again, we kind of overemphasize impossible. The Great Commission is a true command, and we need to follow it. But if you look at the whole 3 years, he's building up, come and follow me, I'll make you fishers of men. It's really right there. And really the pinnacle of all of it, love others as I've loved you. Okay, Christ-centered maturity looks like this. It starts independent. Daryl, you know it. And those kids early can say, I do it myself. It starts that way. That's how we all started. We started plenty independent. We can't push back that we start independent. Then we become interdependent. We learn to rely on God some. We learn to rely on others more or less, and up and down. It's an interdependent up and down. But dependence is where we want to end up, being fully able to operate ourselves in a mature way and then working with others in a mature way. Okay? Where do you think the first stories of workers is in the Bible? That doing work. Now Abel kept flocks and Cain worked the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought some of the fruits of the soil as an offering to the Lord. And Abel also brought an offering, fat portions from some of the firstborn of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering. They had separate commission. They had a general commission to subdue and fill the earth, and rule over the earth and put everything under God's dominion. And then they got specific commissions. You use the gifts. You take yours and you handle the harvest in the fields and you work with the animals. How did Abel work? Where was his faith and work separation? But there was no faith and work separation. He looked around, he was working on, this is amazing. Somehow, as he was working, it was so clear that it was from God and for God that he offered it back to God. He did his work and he saw it as reverence. God cares about the heart. So somehow in his heart, he was working and worshiping simultaneously. He never stopped. And by the way, in Hebrew, the word for work and the word for worship are the same word. Work is worship. And it wasn't separated here. Maybe one of them did separate. Read this. But on Cain, his offering, he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted?" So what happened here? What stands out? The first horizontal comparison came in. Horizontal comparisons are worthless. See, Jesus doesn't give any horizontal. Here's what Jesus doesn't say to those guys that are picking on him and planning to kill him. He doesn't say, "I'm telling you, I'm better than you." He just says, "I only speak on my authority, and I only seek the glory of God." He's only vertically comparing. That's also really, I'm only vertically dependent, and I become interdependent with others. I really need the people in my life, by the way, to help me stay vertically dependent. So it's not that I don't need other people. But then here he's saying, wait a minute, God likes him better than me. God's honoring him more than me. And that little stinker, we'll prove that in a second, how he thought that. So God says this, then God says this to him. "But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." Horizontal comparisons are not healthy. Not taking your full self, not taking your full spiritual self to work is not healthy. Sin is crouching at your door. Be careful, Cain. First of all, it's really amazing here. He has direct communication with God. How great is that? I've never heard his verse audibly, but I'm just meeting with him daily, and I'm starting to understand really what I'm supposed to do. I'm understanding his will, I'm understanding his heart, and understanding what he cares about. It's becoming clear. But Cain heard directly the voice of God. And so let's look how he replied to God. Right here, Taylor. How did he reply to God? "Now Cain said to his brother Abel, 'Let's go out to the field.' While they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him." God spoke to him directly, audibly, and he said to God, what? Said, I know, he knew exactly what to do, and he said he just couldn't stand it, and I'm going to kill my brother. No way I'm letting that guy get away with more honor and glory than me. So the faith and work separation started right here. We're a self-determined, self-glorifying group of people, all of us. That's one of our biggest problems. And when we're that way, there's something we're not believing about the gospel. When we're not doing it by his authority, we're not doing it for his glory, there's something we're not believing about the gospel. Is your heart for work set on spiritual things or earthly things? Who's already thought about their work this morning? How much was that spiritually from his authority for his glory, and how much of that was for your glory, or even if that's to not be in trouble with man, like I got to get that thing done or Johnny's going to be really mad at me. Okay, so let's begin all this with the gospel. We only have 20 minutes, so we're going to go really fast. Self-righteousness, performance, that's where we started. That's what we're trying to hit on here. We're independent creatures wanting to be independent, and every world religion except Christianity has a performance element to it. We're trying to perform, and all of our idols demand performance. All of them. The thing you make the decision for is the thing you're serving. If I'm serving nickels, or if I'm serving my own pride. So, all performance related, and here's the truth. Even to God, and we do this. Who's tried to earn God's favor? It's not possible. We're seeking our own independence when we're earning his favor, but when did God choose you? Before time. Now, before you did the first good thing or the first bad thing. He loves you because he loves you because he loves you. And to try to make it is stress and impossibility. You can't make it at all. You can't do it. And anytime you're stressed out, it's because you're trying to perform. And that's in your whole life. And you can, what the stressed out thing is the thing you're trying to serve. Instead, the gospel works like this. God has done it. He's declared it. It's finished. Jesus has provided the perfection that we couldn't provide, nailed to the cross, risen from the dead in glory, and that equals perfect love. By grace you've been saved through faith, not of yourself, so that no one would boast, but it's a free gift of God. It's the very definition of love, what Jesus did on the cross. That the greatest expression of love is that a man would die for his friends. John 15:30. That's what happens. And then our performance is like this. You saw it in Genesis, but then in view of God's mercy, we present our bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is our spiritual act of worship. Really important. He's saying not to pay back. Who thinks they're paying back? Who sinned yesterday? I want to make up for it. You can't make up for it. You can start over. His mercies are new every morning, and it's morning when you need Him. In view of God's mercy, present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. And then Ephesians 2:10, He's given us works to walk in. When did He prepare those works? He prepared our work in advance. He already knew what your work. He knows what your work is the rest of the day. Now He's saying, come and present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to Me as you work. That's what Abel was doing that Cain wasn't doing. Chapter 4. Paul's just reminding us in Romans 12:1, responding to the perfect explanation of the gospel in the first 11 chapters, and now he's saying, now respond this way. We do it out of gratitude, we do it out of love, and yes, I've talked about rewards. I think there are rewards. I think Jack's going to have 9 cities, and I might only have 5, because he's going to do it in reward to God, and God's going to give him more, but the reward ultimately is what? Being with God, closer to God. And if you're trying to impress your boss, in a way you're trying to get more work, yes or no? I just want to move up the chain a little bit, get a little more responsibility. That's how banking works, right? That's how all these things work. So I get more. That's what if He gives you more responsibility, that's actually a big compliment. That's a reward. But then you get to know Him better because you work more closely with Him. And there's going to be no jealousy, we know that, but there are going to be rewards. That's the way the gospel works, real fast, and dig into it. Now I'm just going to prove in 8 minutes how our work, we have the same pattern. So he gives us work. You're given work, and it's part of your gospel story, and where you're going today is part of your gospel story. And instead of just saying Romans 1:16, which is, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for I know it's the power of God, first for the Jew and then for the Gentile, for us, he says, go then work. You're my handiwork. Go prove my glory. Go glorify me in your workplace. I've given you the work. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command. Love each other. The whole gospel is there. You didn't choose me. I chose you. I appointed you. And then I forgave you, and I paid for it. And then I reappointed you to bear fruit that will last. And so ask in my name. Keep coming. Keep asking. And you're sent out to love. It's all there. The whole little cycle's right there in those 2 verses. So here's how the gospel works at work. Performance independence. Who's tried to perform and be independent at work? Who's had a horizontal comparison problem? Who gets rankings on where you stand in sales? Thank goodness digital marketing didn't get that, but you get your analytics report and you know how well you did versus your plan, don't you? In digital marketing. So I did. And it's not that I'm not supposed to do it. And look, I don't know if the person who sent the performance rankings out is doing that from God or not, or by God's authority or not. But here's what I know. I've got to be able to look at those rankings and know where I stand and say, and talk to God about them. Well, that one guy works 85 hours. I'm not working 85 hours. I'm raising a family. The other person, it's all his money he's managing, so he can do it however he wants to do it. The other person, you can just look at all the different reasons and say, you know what, Lord, based on this, am I bringing my best at work? I can't ask that. But more importantly, I'm a little slow because I spent extra time with somebody who had less money this month. So it didn't give me as big as a commission, but I really blessed them, and I really know they're better off. I really bore fruit. When I try to be totally performance related, when I try to keep up with the Johnnies at work and the Susies, I do it my way. Everyone did as he saw fit. Who said, I'm just doing it this way. Since Cain, that's what Cain said. I heard you, God. I'm doing it this way. That's what we do. But instead, our memory verse, God is unchanging and all good is from God. There's nothing good. John 15 is even clear about this. If I'm not connected to Him, there's no good. He's good. He didn't change. The Old Testament God is the same as the New Testament God. And the God you worship on Sunday is the same one who's asking you to worship Thursday at 3:30 and today at 4 before we knock off. It's all worship. It's all good. It's all from God. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of heavenly lights, who does not change in like shifting shadows. Sounds like we should memorize that. That's our verse. That's our memory verse, right? Okay. Jesus is at work. Jesus never stops working. He never stops worshiping. He never stops working, giving life and glory at work all the time. He's doing it all the time. My Father's working. My Father's always at work to this very day, and I too am working. I don't know exactly how the Sabbath fits into that, but I'll tell you it does. He's holding up the universe by the power of His breath. He's giving us a habit of rest. Verily, I tell you, the Son can do nothing by Himself. He can only do what He sees the Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does. For the Father loves the Son and shows Him all He does. Yes, He will show Him even greater works than these, so that you will be amazed. Just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, even so the Son gives life to whom He is pleased to give it. Your life and your new morning mercies are from God, and they never stop. I'm summarizing that verse. It can be preached on a lot longer by someone who can preach. But new life, He's constantly filling new life into you at work, in work. He talks about work all the time. Work and worship are synonymous. If it's not giving you peace, it's not from Him. And don't go forward without getting peace. Maybe the first thing you need to do at work every morning is understand that the peace of Christ is with you. If I'm not in peace, I've got to do the work there. Now, sometimes I've just got to get up and do a few things. And sometimes doing a few things, I can do a few things, Charlie, and get into peace. Just go love my kids, and they love me back. Okay, now I'm in better peace. I can go to work. Or go talk to the person who you get encouraged by. Or phone somebody up, or get into your Bible right then. But Jesus says this. Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." And after this, He showed them His hands and His side. They needed more proof. And the disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. Again, Jesus said, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, so I'm sending you." The whole gospel's here. You've got the peace of Christ in you. And He's saying, before we go perform, before we go get busy, I've got to remember the purpose of work, the reason to work, the power of work, and the peace of work that He's done. It's finished. It's over. So now go walk in this. And then He appoints them right here. As the Father has sent me, I'm sending you. He's sending you out every day. And then He breathes on them right after that and gives them the power of the Holy Spirit. He breathes on. And then how do we work? Here's the way to work. Ask, do, glorify. Who's going to get confused today about something they're working on? Ask Him. Ask the vessel He's appointed to help you. Ask the CEO. Ask the client. I'm not sure what to do with this client. Ask him. Ask the board if you're the CEO. Ask. We're in a place we've never been in before. Ask. And then what does God's Word say about that? Okay, we're consistent. We can move forward. He says honor the rulers. So I'm going to have to do that part because it's not necessarily against my faith. Do what He says, and then in glory. Very, very truly, I tell you, just get this. This is so much hope in this. It's not funny. Very truly, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing. And they will do even greater things than these because I am going to the Father. And I will do whatever you ask in my name so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. You may ask me for anything in my name and I will do it. So He's already said the Father's been working all the time. I've been working. He's going to do even greater things than He's done. And now He's passing that same mantle in work. You're going to do greater things. You're going to do even greater things. Why? Because you have to do it by faith. Because now He's resurrected. Because now He's commissioned you. Because now the angels are looking down going, His plan is working. It's Ephesians 2:3-10. His plan's working. I can't believe it. I can't believe these frail humans are turning from just glorifying their football teams and their other things and glorifying me at work. I can't believe it. Go and do that and bear fruit that lasts. That's one thing you can just ask. Is what I'm doing, how long will it last? What's the fruit of it? How long will it last? The insurance policy is only going to last this long. But Miss Johnson's, me giving her a little assurance today can lead her to more assurance and more confidence. My coworker, my client, I can do this in a way that encourages them, that points them to some truth that may come back. I'm going to just bless them. I know I'm going to bless them. I don't know how long it's going to last, but if I know this, if I bless enough people with the gifts I've been given, some of them are going to come back and I'm going to get to explain more. Some of them are going to feel so blessed and realize that I don't work for myself, that I work for a higher power, that when they hear a sermon on it some Sunday or another friend leads them to Jesus, I'm going to just be a seed planted and somebody else is going to be able to water it and God's going to cause the growth. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you may go and bear fruit that will last. And so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command. Love one another. So if I can't figure it out any other way, I can ask, what is love? This client wants to kill us. What's love? I hadn't done what I expected to do all week. What's love? I've overperformed all week. What's love? I know this person's need. I don't know how to meet it. What's love?